I would like to clarify how many megawatts per year it can produce, and also what is the real need of the building, consumption of the building.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Just to reiterate, the energy that will be produced on site is going to be 6,500 megawatts hour per year. This is going to basically compensate all the energy that is required on site by the building. And in addition, I think it's also good to mention not only energy, but there is a water reduction target. So this building is also going to aim to reduce 50% of the energy consumption as well.
The building itself can consume all this energy, or are they, because it is DEWA headquarters, normally in the solar business many buildings are giving the extra energy which they produce to the DEWA grid. So this is because serious capacity. What is the consumption of that, the building?
Hopefully I can clarify. So this building is trying to become net zero energy building, which means that it will produce on site by these solar panels so it will produce the enough energy that is needed for the consumption in the building. So DEWA, of course, is an energy supplier. However, this building is going to be self-sufficient with the energy generated on site.
Apart from using renewable energy on the building, what have you done design and planning wise to achieve net zero?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So I think if I can kind of go back to my key message, I would say, is that in order for us to target net zero carbon, now this is actually beyond net zero energy, net zero carbon, we need to actually look at the whole systems, not only energy as you mentioned, but also water, waste, ecological systems, transport, and other utility systems as well. So if I can just kind of reiterate this point, that whenever we do calculation on carbon performance for any buildings or developments, we actually look at the whole systems, not only energy.
How have you achieved it, like for example in architectural design or planning?
I see.
Is there any?
Yes, so it's actually a consulted effort by architects, MEP engineers, utilities engineers, dry and wet utilities engineers, as well as a landscape team who can actually help us sequester carbon from landscape design. So it is a very much collective effort towards achieving net zero carbon.
When you look at the work that you've been doing in terms of trying to start decarbonising existing buildings, now the retrofit market, sometimes it's hard for people to understand the concept, but how much effort is it still to try and start working, pushing through these changes? Are people more receptive now, or is it still quite a difficult explanation? And also, here we've talked about commercial building, industrial building, warehouse. So are we looking only at certain types of buildings that are really worth doing this sort of work on, or should we be looking more broadly in the region?
Sure, I think that is a very important topic that you touched there, Albert. So starting from the last point that you've said, I think every building type has the potential of being retrofitted and reduce the energy usage. It's more dependent on the systems that are there than actually the type that you have. And this we have been seeing across, I would say, most of the building types that we have done. I mean, we have done hotels, residential towers, office towers, hospitals, schools, mosques, warehouses, industrials. I mean, basically every building type we have touched. Potential is different from type to type, depending mainly on the systems that are there. So I would say that that should not be an obstacle. Even villas, even individual, apartment units. So it's just a question of, do you have enough scale to make it work? But I would say technically there is no challenge there. On the first question you touched, I think that's actually a very important topic, because we usually talk a lot about this topic, the challenges of implementing retrofits. Technically, there is no challenge. There are a wealth of available solutions that suit many different types of needs. Financially, there is also not a challenge because there are a lot of investment opportunities, and there are ESCOs like us, for instance, that can finance their own retrofits. The main challenge that we always face is convincing a customer or an interested party what are the benefits of doing a retrofit. And I always feel a little bit silly talking about this because we come in with a value offering that is, we'll change everything free of charge, it will save $1 million a year. And still people ask, why should I do it? No? So it's always a very important question. I think, to be honest with you, coming from Europe, where this has been done for 40 years, 50 years, I think it's a question of time. These concepts are relatively new in the region, and they need some time to be ingrained in the language and in the concepts of what we do. I think it's more a question of time rather than a question of interest. We've seen also a lot of different movement. Tariffs have been increasing. These tough 2 years that we had last brought a lot of challenges to a lot of existing buildings where revenues are going down, but costs have been kept. No? So retrofitting is essentially a way of reducing cost. It's a way of improving operational efficiency and reducing cost. So should be done, in my opinion, in every building, and should be mandated to be done in every building, because every angle that you look at it, from a government angle, an end user angle, an industry angle, a supplier angle, there is no downside. So if you do it well, the projects are successful for the benefit of every stakeholder involved, including the utility company, which sounds a little bit weird saying that, but it has been proven repeatedly. So my question back, if I may, is more, why aren't we doing more of this? That is, I think, the big question in the room.
Myself and Enrique are coming from the same background. And believe me, if you are not passionate, you will give up very, very soon, so very fast. So we've seen in this previous year that the level of maturity of the client is very improved year by year. As Enova, we are acting on 8 countries across the region, and on each country, it's a new journey. For example, here in UAE, thanks to the super ESCO, such as Etihad ESCO in Dubai and ADES in Abu Dhabi, we are spending less and less time to explain the process. So now, I would say it's more easier to explain it. In KSA, the same, in Saudi Arabia, with Tarshid, that is handling all the public tender. Of course, it's save of time for us to put in place this ESCO process. Having said that, also the ESCO model is, as I said earlier, is a holistic approach and agnostic, which means that we are handling the whole facilities, and we are trying to give the client a choice between reducing their consumption only, by reducing their footprint, the choice also to enhance their assets and facilities, the choice to move on the fast payback energy conservation measurement. So it's really, we have plenty of solutions that we are putting in place. In addition of that, finance also that we can bring to the client. Last but not least point is agnostic, which means that it's not just product oriented, meaning that we can give the best money value to the client when it comes to the retrofitting.
For us, from the end user's view, the part of the challenges. First, it's about us getting the right partner to partner with. And one of the key elements there is the fact that you have to have a holistic solution because within a particular facility there are different equipments that are there. So the partner that you're going to be bringing on should be able to have a solution for all of those, a kind of a holistic solution for all of those equipments that you have within the facility, because you don't want to have different subcontractors to deal with, right? So getting the right partner is key in that regards. Second part is, convincing all the stakeholders that are there as decision makers. So you have to have, a kind of an awareness section where you have to demonstrate to them first on the cost-benefit analysis being done with that kind of project coming on board, and as well as, different environmental impacts that the project is going to bring on board. So two different angles that you can look at, and you have to, generate that, presentation or awareness section to be able to help you convince the stakeholders to, easily make a decision on the way forward for the project.
How do you get past that cultural aspect, though, where somebody says, okay, so you've put in more energy efficient systems, it's reduced my energy usage, but why should I change the way I operate? Why don't I just carry on the same as normal, only now it's costing me less money because you've made everything more efficient?
I think that's a very important topic. This has also been demonstrated worldwide. If you leave a system unattended, it tends to be inefficient. That is kind of one of these universal things that you find. If you do also a retrofit and you leave it unattended, the system will tend to be inefficient. I think the key here is to always have a control system in place that first tells you what is happening in real time, and second allows you to react to it in real time and to predict and forecast and anticipate the things that are going to be needed in order to maintain that level of efficiency. If you, give you a small example, if you change an old chiller with a new chiller, but you run it in hand mode, the layers of efficiency or the level of efficiency that you can get is way lower than you run it in auto mode with a control system that regulates it to supply precisely what is required by the load that is needed at that point in time, every minute of every hour of every day. So the answer is not only replacing things, that's part of the answer. I think the real answer is maintain a level of optimization and control and the level of reporting on the information that is happening in real time that allows you to maintain and increase over time the level of operational efficiency. And I think, to be honest with you, nobody will be too much concerned about it. People don't do retrofits for the sake of doing it, no? They do it because they run, property, like where we are here. No, they run this hotel to rent rooms, to rent spaces like this one. This is their concern. How can I rent more rooms? How can I rent more areas for these events like we are having? It's not really how do I run a chiller, no? So if companies like us and the ones that are here help them manage this, giving a better performance and a better operation efficiency, the question I think becomes why not?
I don't know from where it comes, but we say that the greenest energy is the energy that we don't consume. So when it comes to the buildings, obviously it works like a car. So if you take care of your car and so on, you will keep it on the best level of liability and so on. And now, thanks to the digital and new technologies, we are able also to propose what we say zero capex efficiency and energy conservation measurement, which means that without any investment, just by driving on Waze way the equipment and so on, it's become like a revenue generation, not cost generation.
Revenue generation, using things like building integrated PV as well, I thought was very interesting as an approach. And are they using things like artificial intelligence to manage the building?
Yes, exactly. So smart systems, including the sensors and like motion sensors, as well as in the parking, they would have the controlled systems where the AI will actually be able to tell you which parking to go to, and be efficient in terms of the use of space. And so you're not using, or actually meeting rooms as well. So when the meeting rooms are not being occupied, then you can actually turn on AC lighting systems. So that kind of smart systems are definitely goes hand in hand with the sustainability and carbon reduction measurements that we provide.